driving close to your teammates is one of the key ways that you can get plenty of boost quickly, but then also taking risks, so driving close to trees and taking dangerous routes, getting huge air like I just did then. Landing on your opponents, smashing into the vehicles. Opponents. Yeah, and hopefully with style as well. So get a couple of barrel rolls in there and then take them down.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to PlayStation Underground. On today's show, we are playing Onrush, which is coming to PS4 on June 5th. I am joined by Jamie Brayshaw, the assistant game director on Onrush from Codemasters. Jamie, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. You're also driving right now, so I'm fully expecting at some point that you're going to hand the controller over to someone else so we can talk a little more. But in a nutshell, what did the team at Codemasters want to do with Onrush?
So we wanted to bring arcade racing back and deliver something that's larger than life and easy to enjoy and that puts a smile on everybody's face. But then also give it a new twist. So give it a fighting spirit so that it's all about battling for takedowns and doing incredible stunts, driving with style and power and speed. To make it more accessible, more enjoyable for a lot more people, whether you like racing games, you play them all the time, or maybe it's been a while, or you've never played one before. Onrush is the perfect game to kick back and play for takedowns and play for your team.
And I was going to say, there's actually a lot we can talk about in terms of the mechanics of what's going on here. So I'll start with the simple stuff. Well, it's not so simple for you guys, I'm sure, but for me it is to say that it's a team-based game. We are playing just solo with AI, but of course you're going to be, there's going to be full multiplayer in the game at launch. But right now you'll notice that when you get near your teammates, it seems like you're gaining boosts, correct?
Yeah, that's one of the key ways to earn boost. So the important thing with Onrush is that you've got a lot of boost available to you a lot of the time. We really want it to be one of those arcade racing games that makes it fast and exciting and adrenaline fueled. So we give you a lot of boost and we give you a lot of ways to top that up. So like I say, driving close to your teammates is one of the key ways that you can get plenty of boost quickly, but then also taking risks, so driving close to trees and taking dangerous routes, getting huge air like I just did then. Landing on your opponents, smashing into the vehicles. Opponents. Yeah, and hopefully with style as well. So get a couple of barrel rolls in there and then take them down.
Yeah, and so there you go. Those blue, that indicates that you're gaining boost from being near your teammates, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Well, in this vehicle, this is the Dynamo. So this vehicle actually helps the rest of your teammates get more boost more quickly when you rush.
So the vehicles themselves have like kind of skill sets
as exactly,
well.
Yeah,
okay.
So all of the 8 vehicles in the game have got different skill sets and special abilities that you can use to attack the opposition or support your teammates or play a more defensive role in some of the bigger vehicles as well.
Now, is the do each of the class? Well, sorry, let me back up because I'm like kind of enamored by everything that's going on screen right now. So when let's say you're playing with your friends, do you have to have a specific makeup of your team, or can everyone be anything?
Everyone can be anything. Okay. There's a lot of fun in figuring out the best team lineups for each of the individual game modes, and depending on who you're playing against as well. So in this mode, which is Overdrive, where it's all about speed, style, and power. You score points for your team by using your boost and using your rush. So you can use different combination of teammates to earn boost more quickly.
Nice.
Get a couple of dynamos in there, like I am now, to feed your teammates with more boost so that they can score more points more quickly to win the rounds and then win the match for your team.
That's fantastic. I love it. And then, the other thing is, did you want to talk a little bit about specifically kind of how takedowns work? I mean, you mentioned before we started recording that you kind of need to use the physicality of your car. Is it really just like if you think it would take a car down, it probably will take a car down in this game?
Pretty much. So that's the key.
My gosh.
That's the key layer to it. It's about using your speed and angle of attack and velocity to get the reinforced front of your vehicle to crunch into the side of them, T-bone them, take them down. But you can also make use of the environment in a lot more creative ways as well. So from simple stuff like timing the attack just right to knock them into the trees to more advanced stuff like that, which is landing on them as they go down. I didn't quite get lucky enough to take him down. It wasn't quite a clean hit there, but most of the time that's an instant wreck. Vehicles are super vulnerable when you hit them from above.
And this is... Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Oh, victory.
Ended the round way quicker than I thought, then, so I was lost in the conversation.
Yeah, you were just so wrapped up in the rush of excitement.
Oh, nice. That's it. It's so over the top and intense and switched on that the classic thing of talking driving is difficult anyway, but in Onrush it's on another level.
Well, we can always pass the controller away. Yeah, and I mean, while we're looking at this menu, by the way, it's just safe to say there's a lot of different crazy characters in this game. You're able to customize not only your car, but the driver as well. So there's an element there. There's upgradable and RPG elements in here. It seems like you guys are catering to a lot of different types of gamer as well.
Yeah, well, we're trying to do that in the gameplay, in the moment-to-moment action, to make it accessible and enjoyable, but then also make sure that there's a lot of opportunity for high skill play and coordination with teams. And then, like you say, after the matches, we want this to be fun and uplifting and competitive as well. So we show key stats and who got the MVP, who was the most valuable player for the winning team in a match, and then also call out two of the top performing players from each team as well. And then, like I say, give you loads of rewards and gear crates so that you can customize your character and customize your vehicles as well.
Okay, we're back in another race. Jamie, I don't know if I didn't catch what the name of this course is, but it is, as I can already see, a much different environment than the first course that we were in.
Yeah, it's massively different. This is Big Dune Beach, so it takes place down on the beachfront. There's loads of hilly sand dunes, and then tons of opportunities to earn extra boost and take shortcuts and attack the pack from the side of the track, in between the trees as well.
And these gates are a bit of a new mechanical twist to what we were seeing before, correct?
Yeah, so just before we were playing the Overdrive game mode that's all about earning boost and using your rush to score the most points in each round. This one is Countdown, so it's a race against the clock. You're trying to get to each of those gates first for your team. Everybody that's getting through the gates is scoring points for their team. You've got to keep your team's timer alive. At the same time, you can focus on taking the other team out so that they can't score points, they can't keep their timer alive, and that's how you win.
This is fantastic. There's so much. There is so much going on here. This is what's blowing my mind about watching you play and talk about it, is that there's not only the traditional strategy and mechanical interaction of a racing game, but you also have an added layer or like added objectives that players need to be cognizant of during their session.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah. And on an individual player basis, it's pretty easy to get to grips with. Like,
sure,
you
yeah.
just aim for those nice bright green gates
exactly.
in this one, right? But then as you start to learn it and understand it a little bit more, there's the chemistry with your team and the vehicles that you're choosing and your teammates are choosing, and then also the depth of trying to take the other team out so that they can't be scoring for their team. Yeah. So that you secure victory for yours.
That's phenomenal. And I also assume that once you actually get a group of friends and you're not just racing AI, that becomes a whole nother level of enjoyment for the game.
You can coordinate attacks and you can make sure that you're using vehicles that complement each other. So you've got defensive vehicles and offensive vehicles in the mix. Nice. So I was hoping to show you a crushing takedown where I'm the attacker, but,
but
at least you got to see one.
You were a noble, you were a selfless person and decided to take one for the team. Exactly. And I was going to say that something I've noticed in a traditional racing game, being kind of ahead, just ahead of the pack, is often a good position to be in. But in this case, if you're like in the midst of enemy territory, and if you're surrounded by opposing racers, that's actually quite a dangerous spot to be in.
It
right?
is. The risks are much higher. Obviously, you're more vulnerable to attack, but the rewards are much higher as well if you get the upper hand. But we like the idea of constantly keeping you in the middle of the fight. They're inspired by a lot of first-person shooter games where when you're taken out, it doesn't matter that much. You get straight back into the action and you can still make a big play and a big comeback for your team. That's possible in Onrush as well. It's a really important part of the game. Yeah,
you were saying that was part of the sort of Stampede experience, is that you guys are constantly, if you were to fall really far behind,
or hit a tree,
or like hit a tree, the game is kind of like, here, let's just throw you back ahead into the action.
It always throws you back in. So
not right at the front.
You can take the fight. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no performance advantage or competitive advantage to be gained from doing that. You lose a little bit of time, you're out of the action, you lose some boost. So it's in your best interest to stay alive as much as you can and get to the front of the pack and make sure that you're taking the fight to the other team. But if you're on the wrong end of an attack, or you do hit a tree, or you do make a mistake, we launch you straight back into it to keep the competition lively and the fun as high as it possibly can be for everybody all of the time.
Absolutely. I love how it's just hit a tree, make a mistake, just the usual things with driving giant nitro-powered vehicle. I don't know if they're actually nitrous in this game. Let's just say boost.
Yeah, boost.
Nameless boost. What are some of the things that you as a team and you as a studio? What are some of the learnings from your previous games that really came in handy and you leveraged when developing Onrush?
Yeah, I mean, so there are a lot. The environment design first and foremost to make sure that you get that sense of speed and opportunity and ability to be able to attack the track to gain more boost. We wanted to make sure that you've got a lot of boost all the time, so that's a really important part of it. And we wanted to make sure that it's not just an endless corridor race where the vehicles are following each other in procession. We wanted to give you loads of opportunities to try different routes and go wide and attack the pack from coming through the trees and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a key thing that we've learned from previous games and really been able to take to the next level in Onrush. The core feel between the sticks is really important to us, something that we've learned a lot about as well. Timing for barrel rolls, takes a little bit more practice.
You're talking and driving at the same time, which, by the way, PlayStation Underground does not recommend you do. Always drive with your full attention on the road, right?
Yeah,
right.
Unless you're playing
a video game. Yeah. Then you talk to your heart's content.
And it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. I guess the important thing to say with the Stampede system is that it's not rubber banding. Like, we don't hold the players back that are out in front. They're the most competitive, most successful players usually, so we're just bringing up the other players back into the action to give them more competition, more of a fight.
So it's not like it's if you fall behind, it's not as if you have to watch a giant empty field for the rest of the race because you're just so far behind.
Yeah, which is one of the key frustrations from a lot of racing games that we've made before and that we play a lot of as well. That if
Where did that tree come from?
If I'd have made that mistake in a traditional race on the first corner, everybody else would be out of sight by now. My race would be over. I'd be fighting to not come last. In this, we just throw you straight back into the action so that you can still enjoy it. You can still keep fighting and putting a smile on your face and making a difference for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say, you don't have to be super honest here, but tell me, what are some of the sort of challenges or hurdles that you as a team faced when you were developing Onrush that you were able to overcome, and kind of how did you guys overcome those?
I guess, so one of the key things that jumps to mind straight away is the reasons that we introduced rounds into all of the game modes. When we first started out, it was just reach in this mode in particular, get through all of the gates to keep your timer alive. And the match would take 3 to 5 minutes, and you wouldn't see a lot of score swings, you wouldn't see a lot of competitive engagement between the teams.
I see, okay.
So we introduced the round mechanic, inspired by like a lot of fighting games, so that the rounds are much shorter and much more competitive, and if you lose the first one, or if you start to get behind in the first one, doesn't matter, you go 1-0 down, you've got an opportunity to bring it back in the next round, regroup and go again.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And then I think from a technical point of view, it was a really big challenge to be able to keep respawning those players back into the action and keeping everybody close together, especially because all of this game can be played in co-op all of the time, and then obviously a massive part of it's multiplayer as well. It's not something that we've ever done before with the racing, so that was a big technical challenge for us. Fantastic.
Well, let us cut over to one more race before I let you go. Okay, Jamie, we are back in one more race. We have released you from the driver's seat, so now you're just in the passenger seat with me.
Yes, I can concentrate on what's going on and keep up with the action.
We can finally chat. Tell me a little bit about this racing environment that we're in.
So this is Freight Yard Forest. It takes place through a mix of a kind of industrial urban area, and then also obviously Freight Yard Forest, through the forest and through the train yards as well.
You want to make sure you see the forest for the trees, is what you're saying. Or in this case, the giant cars that are blazing fast.
And there's tons of takedown opportunities with those trees and with those trains in the train yard as well. You can get some awesome takedown action in that area.
Now, I don't know if we've actually, during this episode, gone through some of the the different classes of car and sort of the various. So I know we talked about Dynamo a little bit in a previous race, but do you want to go over some of the other vehicles?
Yeah, so one of my favorites is mind blank, what's it called? I'm trying to think of 8 different classes at the same time.
You don't have to choose a favorite, Jamie. You can just choose a couple.
Okay, so Vortex. My mind's working again now. Vortex is one of my favorites.
You stampeded yourself back into the action with your brain. So.
I caught up. Yeah, the Vortex is a lightweight 4-wheel drive buggy. So it's quite vulnerable, susceptible to being taken down in the mix, but its rush power is absolutely devastating. it leaves a wake of destruction behind you, so it's kind of turbulent air, and it makes it look a little bit like fire that causes damage to anybody that's in that wake, and you get a lot of takedowns from that. And it earns Rush for performing barrel rolls, and I love like that attempt there, which would have been amazing. I love exploiting the environment to be able to do wall rides and barrel rolls and show off while you're fighting to take these people down as well.
And that was the Vortex. Anyone else that you want to speak to? I did see a motorcycle at some point. I don't know if that's playable, right?
There are two, yeah. So there's the Blade and the Outlaw. The Blade is more of an assault bike, so it's quite agile, as you'd expect. It's pretty vulnerable if you're going to get attacked by some of the bigger vehicles, but if you use the environment to good effect, you can get a height advantage and then rain down your attacks from above. And its rush effect is absolutely devastating. It leaves a firewall behind it, and anybody that touches that firewall gets taken down instantly.
Ooh.
So if you're a good player and you time it well, you can just cut straight across 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players on the other team and take them all down in one massive blow.
That must be such a good feeling.
It's absolutely awesome.
How did your team go about that was a close call, by the way, buddy. How did your team go about designing the rush moves? Because that's, like you said, there's kind of a little bit of a fighting game feel in there. Like each car has a bit of a personality and a strategic impact to the race.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of time designing these and playing through prototypes as well to get a really good balance and a really good mix. And then I guess the most important part is that it's all tunable. So we don't want anything to be too OP. Like we kind of, in Onrush, our philosophy and our mantra is that we want everything to be OP, but we want it all to be balanced. Like we don't want one thing to be more overpowered than anything else.
Sure.
So we tried loads of different ideas and loads of different visual styles and languages for all of this. And then settled on the 8 vehicle classes that we've got, which is a really good mix of support vehicles like this one that feeds boost to the team and earns more boost by being close to the team, and then some vehicles can steal boost from the other team, slow them down a little bit, lay walls down to slow them down in the tracks, and set up T-bones and takedowns for your teammates.
Whoa,
and have that mix
was close.
Have that mix of being able to show off or be aggressive or play to suit your mood or suit your skill set.
And what is the right now? It's the gold bar underneath our team's blue bar.
So yeah,
there. What was that?
The gold bar is your score. That's your combo. So that's the most important thing. You want to be keeping that alive and chaining points together as much as you possibly can to score the maximum amount of points for your team. Or, on the other team, you want to be shutting those people down. You want to be taking them out to stop them from scoring.
I want to also point out, because we just saw it a second ago, the speed at which you went from one round to another is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, it's fluid.
I mean, Now, I didn't know, is it a literal continuation of where you were on the track, or does it actually put you back into a new...
No, you absolutely keep rolling. You're straight in. Yeah, you get like 3 or 4 seconds to collect yourself, take a breath, and then you're straight back into it, yeah.
Ooh, what was that effect that we just saw there?
So you were... that was one of the rush abilities for one of the trucks that blinds you. Like it affects your vision so that it can take you down like it did there.
This is going to be close. This one is, well, there's, the lead is only, the lead is pretty decent. That's like almost a 1,000-point lead that they got. Oh,
nice.
Oh, nice.
Good recovery.
Very nice. Yeah, I would like to point out that I am not the one playing either. It is the person who will remain nameless that got a really, really bad luck at the beginning, but now there's total redemption happening on screen. Look at this. Look at this majesty.
So you can see now as well, it started to rain. The rain makes things a little bit more tricky. You can drift a lot more easily. Got this takedown rampage.
Yep.
And it affects your visibility as well. And then as things start to become wet, they become slick, which is awesome for a little bit more chaos in the mix. Some nice T-bones from just drifting into people.
Oh man, I think
this is really good.
Yeah, actually, this is the redemption has come full circle. All is going according to plan now. There it is. There we go. 3-0. So you would never know that there was a bit of a rocky start at the beginning.
So this
right?
proves the theory that when you're talking, just to get myself off the hook because I didn't play as well as that. Talking while driving is a bigger challenge.
Oh, absolutely. I know what's not a challenge though, and it's falling in love with Onrush. Oh, look at that segue. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a look at Onrush, which is coming to PS4 on June 5th. Today I was joined by Jamie Brayshaw, got to make sure I get that right.
Brayshaw.
The assistant game director at Codemasters. And Jamie, such a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you so much for coming out here. And Onrush available June 5th. This has been PlayStation Underground. We'll see you next time, folks.
上。